Hello everyone, today I'm going to be reviewing more of Paul Saladino's shorts, and again, I don't know how to tell, how old these are, but they are still on his channel, so they're fair game in my opinion. And this is more anti-vegan shorts, but these have a little bit of a theme. This is, he does not understand what veganism is. Um, and he even says that he was vegan at one time, a raw vegan. But we know that that is not true because he went back to paying for animal abuse. And I'm not going to focus on that too much in this video. I'm going to focus on the issues I have with what he is saying about health, and he is spreading this misinformation about veganism and health to millions of followers. So this first short is about him being a raw plant-based eater, not vegan, because he is now going back to eating animals and their secretions. And let's see what he ate as a vegan. And I will be stopping every few seconds.
I used to be a raw vegan. For 7 months of my life, all I ate were raw vegetables, raw fruit, and raw nuts. I had 2 heads of kale a day, broccoli, things like radishes or tomatoes, oat milk, maybe some nuts, a little bit of fruit. It was horrible for me.
Okay, I'm going to say it again. He was not vegan. He was just plant-based. And he names all the stuff to eat. He names 2 heads of kale a day. And I don't eat that much. I don't even think I buy that at one time unless it's in a package. But I usually buy the kale that's individual. But it'll probably take me a few days to go through a head of kale, because it's not like a head of cabbage. It's a little bit smaller, depending on if it's in season or not. I kind of don't believe him. I think he's just playing to the stereotype. But I've noticed in his stuff, he didn't really mention any grains or beans. Grains and beans, whole grains, I mean, are very good for you. They're high in precious protein that he thinks vegans can't get. Some grains are high in iron. Some grains are high in just different vitamins because they fortify them, especially cereal. And beans are high in iron and protein. Not that protein is a problem if you're eating, but he was probably a closet anorexic, and he was using this diet to, hide his eating disorder. And now he's using the carnivore diet because he saw a niche, and he's making bank off of his supplements and living in a mansion in Costa Rica.
I had fatigue, I had eczema, I was 25 pounds of lean muscle mass lighter, and I looked like this. So skinny, I couldn't even get a date. Then I transitioned to a strict carnivore diet. That helped with my eczema. I ate meat and organs and fat, but I developed many issues with electrolyte imbalance and had muscle cramps. I've ended up on an animal-based diet, organs, meat, fruit, honey, and raw dairy, and now I look like this, and I am truly thriving.
Okay, so this is another closet anorexic that tried to hide their eating disorder through a poorly planned plant-based diet. And he was never vegan, and then he, ate meat and bovine secretion, and I think he also eats the menstruations of a chicken, and those are like loaded with calories, which is good for the short term, for our short term survival when we needed, like Ice Age and getting by. But now they are detrimental to our health. And he is touting this to millions of, he's probably focusing more on Americans, even though he's living in Costa Rica. But he is touting this meat, dairy, eggs, and fruit, because he had to add fruit in for health. But he's touting this to millions of Americans. And this is upsetting because he we are living in a time where only 10% of Americans get the recommended daily intake of fruits and vegetables. And this next short proves that he was never vegan, because he doesn't even understand what veganism is. He is talking about a pack of Oreos. Let's do this. Oh my gosh.
I find it hilarious that Oreos are touted as a vegan food. Does vegan mean healthy? Clearly not. We know that vegan diets are deficient in all sorts of vitamins and minerals. But Oreos are vegan, so you can go vegan and still have Oreos, right? And this package is in Spanish, but it says, we're celebrating 110 years of chronic disease with Oreos. 110 years of people eating garbage food that is harming them. That's nothing to celebrate.
Okay, this has nothing to do with the video itself. It kind of does. But this is something that kind of bugs me about some people that move to different countries. I bet you anything he barely speaks any Spanish despite the fact that he is living in Costa Rica pretty much full time. And español fue mi carrera en la universidad, entonces yo hablo español con las personas. But I bet he does not speak barely any Spanish. And he is using a food like Oreos, which is a junk food, to prove that veganism is unhealthy. This is the same thing. I know some vegans that will compare like vegan meals and regular whole food plant-based meal and compare it with McDonald's, when a lot of people do not eat McDonald's. I don't like that either, but he's doing the exact same thing to try and prove a point. And his subscribers, they want to hear good things about their bad habits, and they are eating it up. And it's ridiculous. And here's another video of why he probably failed, because he doesn't know the difference between a fruit and a vegetable. Watch this.
I have a confession to make. This morning, I ate a vegetable. Not kale or broccoli. I would never eat this garbage. That's total bullshit.
Okay, he is telling people that the kale and broccoli and the col vegetables, the cruciferous vegetables, are BS, when that is the classification of vegetable that we are not getting enough of as Americans, because his content is for Americans. He's speaking in English, he's just living it up in Costa Rica, but he is targeting Americans and Westerners. And that 10% of Americans only get the recommended of vegetables. And he is telling his followers to not do that, to not eat the col vegetables. But let's see what vegetable he actually ate.
I ate a green banana, which is basically a vegetable. You should never eat green bananas. Fruit doesn't want to get eaten when it's unripe. That doesn't make any sense. As fruit ripens, the amount of defense chemicals in the fruit decrease. And the notion that resistant starch from a green banana or a green mango is necessary for a healthy gut is also complete bullshit. Why would you eat that stuff? I ate that green banana before I surfed because I wanted energy, and I burped it up the whole time. I felt horrible. It was nasty. If you're gonna eat fruit, eat ripe fruit. Do not fear this. But I'll never eat a vegetable or an unripe fruit again. My mistake. Now you guys know.
Okay, just because it was unripe does not make it a vegetable. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. It is better and taste-wise and probably maybe healthier to eat fruit when it's ripe, but eating unripe fruit doesn't make it a vegetable. And I mean, he says vegetables don't want to be eaten. Okay, he says the vegetables don't want to be eaten. Vegetables aren't alive, my friend. They're not sentient, is what I mean. But the animals and their secretions, the animals that you eat, and the hens that you exploit, and the cows that you pay to be raped, and the calves you that you want to be shot in the head, those animals don't want those things to happen to them. I mean, he is a joke. He's just playing a part at this point. He knows people are addicted to carcass and secretions, and they will follow him. And it's sad because, I'll say this again, 10% of Americans are not getting the recommended fruit and vegetable intake. And he is promoting that. And he's using his title as a doctor to promote that. And this is sad. And this is ridiculous. And this is why I make these videos, is because he is just telling people good things about their bad habits. And it's hurting the animals, and it's hurting people's health, and it's hurting the environment. So I will see you all in the next video. Bye, guys.